Hello, guys. Welcome back to Teenage Children Law Update family. Thank you so much for pulling up and supporting this channel. Much appreciated. You're all amazing. Please click share and subscribe button. We're here to talk today about children's safeguarding lessons learned about Finley Boden's death, which took place on Christmas Day in 2020. Just by way of brief background to the story, a Derbyshire couple were handed life sentence for the murder of their 10-month-old baby. The parents, who are Stephen Boden and Shannon Marsden, were convicted of the murder of the child in April 2023 at Derby Crown Court. They were sentenced to life imprisonment. Stephen Boden was given a minimum term of 29 years and Shannon Marsden was given a minimum term of 27 years. Neither will be eligible for parole until they have served the minimum term in custody. The sentence handed down took into account all the evidence shown to the court. This included the sheer number of injuries inflicted on this poor child, Finley, the level of violence used, and the neglect shown by the parents. They also thought to cover up their actions rather than seek help for their baby. The local Child Safeguarding Practice Review report on Finley was recently published, and it provides an opportunity for all the agencies and professionals involved in Finley's short life to learn and to reflect on their complex and important work with vulnerable children and families. And I will go far as to say, for all agencies and professionals generally involved with children to learn and reflect on these particular cases, the complexities, and also the important work done for vulnerable children and families. It's also worth mentioning that prior to Finley the child's death, there were court proceedings. There were what we called care order proceedings brought by a local authority to safeguard Finley's life or to safeguard his welfare. Unfortunately, despite the concerns over the parents' drug use and the state of the family home, the court concluded with a decision in October 2020 that the child should live with and be in the care of his parents. Everyone involved, including his guardian, who is a court-appointed guardian, believed his parent had made and sustained changes necessary to care for him safely. What led to his death seemed to be the ability of Finley's parents to deceive everyone involved about their love for him and their desire to care for him. No one, based on the reading of the report, could have predicted from the available information at the time that they were capable of such cruelty, or that there was a risk that they would intentionally hurt the child, let alone murder him. One big lesson learned is that every local authority now has to strengthen its management support and supervision policy for vulnerable families and for professionals to reflect and challenge preconceived opinion whenever there is a plan proposing a return or reunification of a child to to the parent or to the carer's care, where there had been previous allegation of abuse and or neglect. A second lesson is that whenever there is a transition plan of phased or gradual return for a child to return to the care of parents, when the parents, then the agreed level of frequency of visit must be kept or adhered to, and there must be continuous oversight by managers, and if the matter is in court, obviously by the court. And there needs to be regular social work visits and support provided from the local authority. A third lesson is that the court should not be swift to order a return to the care of parents in circumstances where there has been serious neglect or serious abuse. A phased return should be favoured, with evidence of sustained level of appropriate care should also be considered before the transition process is completed. A fourth lesson flowing from this report is the restriction and unfamiliar arrangement associated with COVID pandemic, which was a major factor in helping the parent deceive the authorities. I would go as far as to say parents need to be alert to parents' deceit where there are unfamiliar arrangements which precludes or prevents the social worker or the police from carrying out checks or investigation which they would normally do. Now, that said, I think we should just delve into some of the findings. I think we'll just quickly talk about 4 or 5 findings, which I think is quite important that professionals should bear in mind on the recurring climate. 1. A social worker involved in the child's care was during the investigation process. During the proceedings also. Who was involved in the child's care was off for a period of 6 weeks due to illness. During their absence, no social work visit took place. The next point and findings worth mentioning is on the return of the social worker, the parents would not allow the social worker to access the home and were verbally abusive and shouting out of the front bedroom window. My personal view is that in circumstances like this, the social worker could, I would say could, because I wouldn't say should, could have involved the police who will have facilitated that visit into the family home, given the nature of the allegation or abuse or concern. The next point I'd like to, of next findings from the report is that in the family court hearing, the local authority felt that the child, Finley, should be gradually returned to his parents' care over a period of 4 months. But the magistrates or the court sided with the child's guardian, who said Finley should go back to his parents within a 6 to 8 week period. So there was a bit of a disagreement within professionals as to the relevant time for this child to return to the family home, or how long the transition period will take place. or take. Another point noted in the findings is that 2 days after the child went back to his parents' care, a social worker visited the home and noticed a bump to the head, which was described as being caused by a toy. It's not clear to what extent this explanation was investigated or interrogated. Another point in the finding is that during an unannounced visit, a social worker saw the mother on the street, and the mother was observed to make some kind of transfer, which the worker thought might have been drug related. The social worker went forward towards her, but she was on the phone, the report says. Another point is, in the weeks before the child's death, 6 children's social care visits should have taken place, but only 4 were attempted, the report says. Another finding of the report is that on one of those 4 visits, there was no response from the family, but issues arose that warranted further inquiry, but necessary action was not taken during the other 3 visits to investigate the issues which warranted the further inquiry. Another point of the finding is that the police described the condition the child was living in as filthy. Derbyshire County Council Children's Services accepted there had been missed opportunities in this child's case. The court, the court was told, that's another findings, was that the court was told Finley suffered injuries including 57 breaks to his bones at the hands of his parents. Another key finding was that Finley, this poor 10-month-old baby, suffered 71 bruises and 2 burns on his left hand, one from a hot, flat surface, the other probably from a cigarette lighter flame. Poor kid. Oh my goodness, this child. Having said all of that, there are certain things which I ought to mention, which I think is connected to this case, but it was not a finding, it was not an issue in this case. But I think it's quite relevant for me to mention it in this video. It is important to mention that whenever a child suffers what is considered as unexplained injury or a non-accidental injury, then the authority should report the matter to the police and carefully consider whether the child's safety requires full investigation into the injury. And consideration should also include whether the child needs to live in a safe place, that is independent of the parents, pending the outcome of those investigations. To sum it all up, this story clearly illustrates the important work being done by various agencies to keep children safe, the important children safeguarding role of every professional, including the police, social workers, judges, doctors, teachers, and the general society as a whole to keep our children safe. Please let me know what you think about this story in the comments below. And if you have not yet clicked the share, please do. Please click the share and subscribe button. Please make sure you do. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Thank you so much.